Peace. Peace to the family. What it do? There you go. Wasn't seeing the comments at first. There y'all go. Peace, me brethren. Come on in, come on in. The wisdom is fine. Peace, Miss Ravioli. Mike Harb. I thought that shit said Mike Herb for a minute. I said we smoke upon the herb, Michael Herb. Drew Ford, what up? Oh shit. Bad Seed Entertainment said Virgo gang. 917-ish. That's right. Virgo Nation in the house. I'm all right. I need to zoom in a little more. Ba-boom. There we go. Ba-boom. Oh, we're going to do all of that. Peace, peace, peace. What's good, family? Welcome to Lord Jamar Live, Godcast. You know how I do. I'm your host, Lord Jamar. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Do me a favor and click that like button right about now upon entering. Click that share button. Get some people up in here. Share with your family and friends. 7 o'clock. What's this Jeopardy time? We ain't watching Jeopardy right now. Fuck Jeopardy. I think they be doing some shady shit on Jeopardy. Recently, people have been having runs that are very suspect. Very suspect. But that's a whole nother fucking conversation. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Click the notification bell and make sure you click all so you know when we drop some new episodes, new segments, we go live, all of that type of stuff. All right, so listen. That's right, Jeopardy ain't been the same since Alex left, because I don't think he would have went for this new age bullshit, fucking trying to push agendas on the show and letting people win just in order to influence people. But that's, again, a whole next subject. So, yeah, listen, my guest tonight, I've been talking about him recently, checking out his music, because he is a hip-hop artist. And he does have an album called The Black Vote, and the link is in the description right now. But we're not really here to necessarily talk about hip-hop, because although he is a hip-hop artist, he is a serious politician. He was here. He previously ran for president of the United States. Let's clap it up for that. And now he is running for a seat in the Senate. So we're going to talk about where he's running, how he plans to run, what ideas he has, and yes, we're going to ask him the questions that you want asked, things like reparations and such. So we'll get to all of that. But ladies and gentlemen, right about now, I'd like to bring my brother to the Godcast. Once again, a friend of the show, Deon D. Jenkins, U.S. Senatorial candidate, I must say, Deon D. Jenkins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In the state of California.
In the state of California. There we go. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yes, sir.
How are you, my brother?
I am blessed, man. All praise to Yahweh, man, out here making things happen on the grassroots level as a hip hop artist, as a grassroots hip hop organizer, trying to get into Congress right now. Like you said, I ran for president the first time in 2016. I was the source labeled me as the youngest person to ever legally run. I filed on my birthday as soon as I was old enough to file. I filed.
So what's that? 35? Is that 35?
35 years old. Yep. Yeah. Yes, sir. And I ran again in 2020. That's when you allowed me to come on your podcast, and now here I am again. But this time, what's different about this one is my name is on the ballot. So if you're in the state of California, yes, go to the polls.
Because not to cut you off, but on your presidential run, we had to write you in, correct?
Yes, sir. Now the name
is on the ballot.
On the ballot. Yes, sir. Now check this
out. How does that come about? How do you go from someone who was a write-in candidate to now you being officially on the ballot?
Well, it's easier because it's statewide. But even though I'm a federal candidate, right? I'm not a state senator. I'm a U.S. senator. Hopefully, I'll get that. But I'm running for that. But it's still statewide, so it's easier. It's just you got to mobilize what's called a petition of lieu, and get some signatures. So people have to petition you in. So I hired a small street team. We hit it hard, and we made it happen.
How many petitions are required?
So it's like, I think it's like, it's like 3% of the population of the voting population size.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Of the state of California.
In the state of California. We was hitting it. Right. But that's fortunately, we didn't have to hit all California because I live in the Bay Area. Shout out to Vallejo, Richmond, Oakland, San Francisco.
The Yay area.
Yeah.
With the dank.
Yeah. This is the home of independent hip hop culture, man. This is like, we're known from all over the world to be independent.
Well, hang on. Y'all did maybe on the West Coast it's the home of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hip hop from the beginning was pretty much independent.
That's
what I mean? It started with independent labels. Sugar Hill was an independent label.
I agree. Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
Enjoy and what other labels were back then? A lot of those,
Right.
But yes,
right.
Cali was doing it. By the time y'all did it independent and was big, like was making money. Like,
we got guys. Still, that like I was able, I wasn't as big as like E40 and those guys, because those guys were selling, like Too Short went platinum, selling out of his trunk, right?
Crazy.
I was doing it. I sold thousands of copies. I was able to make a living off of my music, man, for years.
And that's crazy.
And yeah. So no job, nothing, just hustling CDs, and people coming back buying them and really supporting me. Appreciate y'all people, those folks out there. But first, before we started, I would like everybody that's listening, share this man's podcast. This man is going to go down in history as being one of the pioneers of hip hop, and not just hip hop, but actual conscious hip hop. Okay. This man right here. Hey man, look, we don't have too many Lord Jamars who's not afraid to stand up against the corrupt system, the corporate America entity, the machine, the commercial rap music machine, I should say. So we should always support people like this. Also, you will be helping my candidacy out, because grassroots candidates do not have a large platform. So if you share this program, you keep sharing it, it'll go far, because this is what we need. Let's make this go viral. And like I said, I want to give you, man, your flowers, bro. Like, I was a kid, and Brand Nubian, like, you guys were one of the first ones who I've ever seen. Actually, I think you made a video talking about like the white man is a devil or something like that.
Wake up.
Yeah. Like,
Uh-huh.
It was
and they
like
don't want to
that.
play it on MTV and all
you don't
this
understand
shit.
how powerful that is to be a kid, and all you see is gangster rap. And then these young black men are strong enough to say, hey man, a white man is the devil. So yeah, man, I commend you for that. And yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the acknowledgement.
Yes, sir.
What I mean? Yeah, we gotta do, somebody gotta fucking hold the line, man. Somebody gotta be willing to fucking not sell out, like, you know what I mean, and stand by their morals and principles, like,
yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir. And
whatever, shit might move a little slower, but it's okay. I'm here. We good.
Right. Yes, sir. And it's so potent, because me and you both know that there is an agenda to genocide young black males. There is, through hip hop, through rap music, right? So they spend billions of dollars to make sure that happens, and they try to make it cool, and they try to make it popping, and they try to make it masculine. And so the young men grow up looking at this, idolizing that, and and their environment. We don't blame rap music for that, but we can't lie that it does flame the fire, and it adds fuse to the flame. So if you're already growing up in an environment, right, and there's already pressure around you to be a certain way, and if you have somebody who you look up to telling you, well, this is the man thing to do, this is masculinity right here, then you don't have a father at home telling you that this is not the way, then you're more likely to be susceptible to that. So yeah,
well, this is why I've been striving to do, I don't know if you got caught wind of the Rappers with Rifles events that I've been doing. Basically it's to change the relationship that we have, with guns, and how we're perceived of having guns. And you know what I mean? It always seems like if a black man has one, it has to be illegal, but no, you can legally have one if you go according to the proper procedures and all of that. But a lot of times they hide this information from us, or try to chip us up when we young, and make it so that we by default now can't exercise our rights that we should be able to exercise. So
speaking of that, I live in the state of California. Every year they ban a gun every year,
right?
And they are putting more limitations on our ability to bear arms, and it is unconstitutional, And we need a representative in the Senate. But besides that, my first priority, I was the first. Also, I am historical for actually being the first presidential candidate in 2015 to actually have a reparations agenda. I prioritized reparations. That was my platform. Reparations, I was published for defining the 4 elements of reparations. That was later, though. That was in 2019. But in 2015, when I first ran, I was trying to figure it out. And every time I had a platform, I was interviewed by KCBS Radio, the #1 radio station in California for news. I was on there. I was talking about reparations on KPIX News. I got interviewed. I was talking about reparations. The Source magazine, I was talking about reparations. And a lot of others as well. I just made sure that reparations, and this was during a time when nobody was talking about reparations, especially in politics. Nobody took it serious. I remember going out there talking about reparations and basically getting laughed at because it was that just so out there. It was way out. People didn't think it had a chance. And now today we have white politicians trying to pass HR 40 bills, which is basically a shield of reparations. It's not real reparations at all. 2020, I came back. 2019, I came back. And that's, you know, when you had me on your platform talking about reparations, right? I broke it down, DMLG, which is my reparations package. I am actually published for defining reparations for our people, far as by the 4 elements of American society, because reparations is the root word. Excuse me, reparations is the extension word from its root word repair. Repair meaning to mend damage. When you talk about reparations, you have to repair the damage, right? You have to make whole. You have to mend. You have to construct from a destruction caused. So when you talk about reparations, you cannot have true reparations without addressing those 4 elements. And I came up with a package entitled Defense, Money, Land, and Grants. The 4, that's my package, constructed from the 4 elements of American society: defensive structure, capital, land, and having access to capital. Because I did research, and I found out 4 common elements around every nation. Every society has 4 common elements: a defensive structure, which consists of a military, law enforcement agencies, and a court system. An economy, which is capital, the flow of currency, which is the second one. Land, you can't have a nation without a place to reside. And last but not least, the access to capital, because you could live in the richest country in the world and be homeless and not have any access to capital. So I
like
constructed.
Many of us do right here in America.
What's that?
I said, like many of us do right here in America.
Facts. So I constructed a reparations package entitled Defense, Money, Land, Grants. The money part, because in the last 2 years or so, I've heard a lot of, well, we got to get our check, which I agree wholeheartedly. That's $30 trillion down payment. And I want to break that down a little later. Also, the access to capital part, the grants, I plan to construct, give people grants based on, so you don't have to take money out of your own pocket. I plan to give people who have great ideas to build up Black infrastructures and stuff like that free money, just like the Mark Zuckerbergs and all these guys. They get free money. These multi-million-dollar corporations get free money. They keep those things afloat. Black people need to have that too. Of course, the number one, though,
what do they call
defense,
that? Venture
man.
Capital? Isn't that venture cap? Don't they call that venture
capital? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The money part,
AKA free money for whitey.
Wait, yeah, let me get the money part out of the way. So the money part is so important because you know, you can have everything else, but if you broke, you can't do nothing. But I don't want the people to
cut you off.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of people will be like, Dion, cut to the chase.
Right.
What does reparations mean for the average person? Will I get some money in my pocket? Like, what does reparations look like? You understand what I'm saying? To the average person. I want to know all of this, but the average person wants to know, am I going to get some money in my pocket?
Yeah,
and how much? How much would I get?
Okay, so let me break down the money part, because I know that's the most popular element. Right. So the money part goes like this. I conducted research. The U.S. is worth $1 quadrillion, and I counted the GDP, gross domestic product.
$1 quadrillion.
$1 quadrillion.
Know how many zeros is that?
Exactly. That's
a lot of fucking zeros.
It go million, billion, trillion, and then quadrillion.
Okay, so that's 4.
And what I did was, I mean, that's an estimation. You know, I don't have an exact number, but that's an estimation. I estimated that, I mean, I counted America's GDP since 1865. and I counted everything up, and I just added it all up, and it came up to approximately $1 quadrillion. Now, what I came up with was an at least factor. The at least factor is we don't really know how many blacks who descended from American slaves are in this country exactly, because there's never been true measurement on that. Now, they quote unquote think that we're 15% of the population. And the last time I was on your show, I broke down how, because you asked me a very important question. Well, how do you think you're going to win, right? Which is a very important question. And I explained how we have more numbers than we think, because most black people, how many black people you know ever took the census? Hardly any, right? Most black people don't take the census. Not only that, but we have a lot of black people who are displaced, who are disenfranchised. We have black people who live their entire lives and never have any access to corporate America. We don't take polls. We don't do nothing. But however, the government do know that there's more black people out there, right? But they have an incentive to make sure that our representation is undermined. Matter of fact, it's not even as many white people out there. White people, they allow other people to classify as white to build their numbers up. Not only that, but there are a lot of black people who don't classify as black. There because they have other options like mixed. Some classify as Hispanic. You could be a black Hispanic. They're classified as Hispanic. Some classify as Native American. Some might even classify as white, right? So because there is an incentive, we live in a country where there's actually an incentive to classify yourself as white, because being black is a stigma. So people be trying to look for any type of way to opt out of being black. So even if they do fill out the census forms, even if they do fill out a job application, a lot of times they don't put black. Oh yeah, and another one, Lord. A lot of times they mark other. So they have black, Hispanic, white Hispanic, Native American, other, right? And their mark is other. So we have way more numbers than we think. Another thing that we have to understand is gerrymandering. So there is a manipulation of how the population size meet with the real population size. Prisoners, they would count a prisoner's vote for district consideration, for representation, and not even allow them to vote. So we have people in prison that's in Congress, right? If we could influence a movement to actually get more people in Congress, so that we can actually, because we can't have just one person in Congress. Let me get that. I wouldn't have no power, even if I got elected. I wouldn't have no power in the world if I was the only one, right? So I don't want. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about nobody else. This is not a personal movement. It's not for a career. It's not for none of that. We need to get more people in Congress. We have to support our congressmen, grassroots hip hop activists, and get them in there, because you don't have power if you're the only one. Now, as president, I will have a lot of power, but in Congress, there's a lot of power in Congress, but it's more of a cultural community. You got to vote for things. You got to, be able to network with other congressmen. And let's be real, man. A guy like me with freeform dreadlocks, real grassroots hip hop organizer, like straight from the streets, not scared to tell the white man who he is, not scared to tell the white woman who she is, not scared to talk against the LGBT agenda, and actually make legislation against it. Okay. And actually make legislation against it. What type of candidate would do that for you? Actually be bold enough to make to put myself as a target against LGBT agenda. Okay, so this is what we need as representations in Congress. All right, but I can't do that alone. The reason why I wanted this podcast to get on your legendary podcast, sir, because I know what you're doing is historic. They're going to be talking about people like yourself 100 years from now. Your name is going to be placed in the history book. So I want to get this idea out so they could say, yeah, look, this dude, yes, Lord Jamar brought this young man on. Even if I don't make it, even if I fail, I want to be able to inspire the next generation to have the ideas out there, right? So what we have to understand is that, first of all, as a matter of fact, I actually wrote this down because I wanted to get this right. Give me a second. I wrote this down because this is so important. Please share this broadcast. This is going to be a historical.
Listen, if you're just joining us right now, we're with U.S. Senate candidate Deon D. Jenkins. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's building on, his stance on reparations and how he plans to achieve his goal of becoming a U.S. Senator for the state of California. And he's definitely a brother who is working for us. And so don't get it twisted, because, not all politicians, not all people that are trying to work within a political system are corrupt. We do have a few of us, that are striving to slip through the cracks. So yeah, make sure you like this this broadcast, share this broadcast, and get this out there right now.
So I see that somebody asked a question, who he's speaking on immigrant blacks. Oh, so reparations is for blacks who descended from American slaves. But I want to,
okay.
Yeah, no.
I want to cut you off. Go ahead, say what you're going to say, and then I want to kind of speak on that whole thing, because I think it's big.
But come on, we have to be real, all right? Yes, reparations is for blacks who descended from American slaves in America. But we also have to make this a worldwide movement. We can't just be the only group of people trying to get reparations in this country, right? Now, there are legal qualifications, right? You have to take your reparations movement to your own government. But as a representative of black people, I want to represent for other black people as well. I'm not only going to represent for only blacks who descended from American slaves. I have a constituency that I have to uphold. I have to uphold everybody's constitutional rights, right? This is for about, but no, I'm not going to give your reparations to a person who does not qualify for this country. But if I become president, you better believe I'm going to, or Congress, and get other people in Congress as well. Trust me, there are going to be legislations passed for blacks who became American. Now, I'm not for the illegal thing, the illegal immigration. I'm not down with that. Okay, you gotta do your paperwork and become a citizen. But if you are black from anywhere, okay, Africa, Jamaica, Haiti, wherever you're at, right? I'm not going to discriminate against you because you're not of my tribe. But however, look, the other groups have to do the same thing in their land, all right? If we're going to get reparations, you have to be bold enough, like we are bold enough, to take that with your government. Okay, you have to be bold enough, because you're going to have people like myself putting myself on the line for all blacks in America. And I say that unapologetically, all blacks in America. But there are certain policies for certain people, right? Because let's be real, okay? You don't want to be the only blacks in the world fighting for reparations, because guess what? The whites in America, the whites in Great Britain, the whites in France, they're going to all team up to make sure that don't happen. Even if Great Britain have to help the United States, even if France have to help the U.S., even if Italy have to help the U.S., they're going to all get together to make sure that white supremacy stay existing. Yeah. Go ahead. But you have a question?
No, I want to interject. I just want to. Okay, so I believe there's degrees to everything. You know what I mean? There's first degree murder, second degree murder, third degree. There's manslaughter. There's there's levels to everything, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like when it comes to reparations,
Mhm.
there almost should be different degrees to the reparations, but I don't think reparations should stop just at the defendants of slavery. Hear me out. I think that's where it starts. And if you can prove that your family goes that far back, more power to you, and you probably should get more money. But here's the thing. Like, for instance, on my father's side, my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather came through Ellis Island in the 1920s,
Right.
okay, to this country, meaning our family lived through Jim Crow. We lived through redlining. We
Right.
lived through just being niggas in
Right.
America.
Right.
And the bullshit that entails, the money that we should be owed for that, not just slavery. The fact that motherfuckers could have went to war, come home, and couldn't benefit from the GI Bill and all that type of shit. That happened to not just descendants of slavery. These are people that came to this country and got treated like they've been here since slavery.
Right.
They can't get nothing to. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like if you would include these people, maybe they're not going to get as much as you. You see what I'm saying? And then what do you do? Because my mother's family can be traced back to slavery. So I have one side of my family that's traced back to slavery, and then the other side that came here very early. How do we equate those type of people?
Right.
And again, I feel like if we found a way to include all black people who've been just suffering from racism, just the racism of America, to where you might not could trace your shit back to slavery, but if you've suffered racism here in America, you can get broke off a little something too. I bet you if you told motherfuckers that, you'd have a whole more swell of people supporting the idea. But it almost starting to turn into like an elitism. Well, I'm an FBA, I'm an ADOS, and if you're not that, then you're not getting anything. Like let's not turn it into that type of reverse elitism either.
Right. Well, we have to be honest if we're going to get into politics, and the reason why now I do believe that we should only give reparations to blacks who descended from American slaves, but I think the representation black people as a whole get mistreated in this country. So if there is any type of mistreatment, there are going to be policies specifically for those people as well. And
redlining, for instance, you don't think that's something that they owe us? Like, they stopped us from being able to have generational wealth by keeping us out of certain neighborhoods and being able to use real estate as a form of generational wealth the same way they did. You don't think that, and that all the black people that may have happened to, whether they were descendants of slavery or not, deserve repair to be whole for that?
Yeah, redlining came.
We need to look. I think reparations needs to expand, maybe.
Yeah,
the idea of what it is.
Right.
No,
right. Like with the redlining, that came during the Franklin Delano Roosevelt era. So that was like in the 1930s and 40s.
That's a long time ago.
Black immigrants didn't really get here until like the late 1950s and 60s. So
I told you my great grandfather came here in the 20s.
Okay, yeah, no, not all of them. No, I'm not saying every single one, but when they started popping up as a mass, you know what I'm saying? Then you know what I'm saying? That's when it was like in the late 50s, early 60s, around that time. And blacks who descended from American slaves actually fought for them to be able to get here, because a lot of them wasn't allowed here, and it was unfortunate. But that's what I'm, even till this day, like Joe Biden,
people saying that would dilute the claim, and
See,
they just scared to ask for it all. But okay, it's okay.
No. Now, I would like to say this though.
I want them to pay for it all. Slavery, all of the shit that they fucking did. Put disproportionately putting us in jails, all of that fucking shit. Not just slavery, but okay, I want to start there. That's fine. That's fine.
No.
Trust me, like if you put anything in into it. That the white man's gonna say no. Don't rock the boat. Don't put nothing else onto it. I'm like, fuck that. Put it all on there.
I'm glad you mentioned that, man. A lot of times we have too many of our people who think that they can actually put pressure on Democrats to give us reparations. That's not. You could put pressure on them, but they will allow this country to burn down before they ever give the keys to their power. And if we're gonna repair the damage,
thank you, Isis Harrison.
They created this country and they deliberately keep us at the bottom of society because they cannot capitalism, white supremacist capitalism don't work without somebody being at the bottom. So they chose us for that position. So you're not going to be able to convince Joe Biden to give you reparations. Now, what he'll do is he'll go through the motions like he's going to give you reparations just to buy time, to keep putting people in there in place who he wants in there. But Joe Biden would never give us reparations. Bernie Sanders would never give us no. It is a conflict of interest. Reparations is a conflict of interest for white politics. Okay, so the only way that we're going to ever get reparations is if we have our own people representing that, people like myself. And I wrote something down, and I just want to read it just right quick. We have to change the culture of how we do Black politics. First, we have to get rid of gatekeepers. Everyone should be their own gatekeeper, and everybody should have Black agenda policies as a priority in their gatekeeping. Be cautious of anyone trying to be the gatekeeper of the Black vote. A sincere person understands that it is not in the best interest of Black people for one or a handful of people to have total control of the Black vote. Sincere people understand this because it would make it easy for the opposition to destroy those few individuals and everything else will follow. Sincere people understand that we shall only vote based on the codification of a Black agenda. Everyone should be their own gatekeeper. And the only gate that we shall all keep is a Black agenda. And right now, the agenda is reparations. People who are not sincere would try to control the Black vote for their own personal benefits. There are goodies given to people who have the ability to control the masses of Black people. And many people aspire for that position. Be mindful of people who always have something negative to say about Black politics without offering a solution. You have the right to vote or not vote, but always remember that there is always someone out there worth voting for. Number two, you should never wait until November to cast in your ballot. The reason why is because you missed all of the grassroots candidates like myself by that time. If you waited until November, will mean that you did not vote in the primaries, which means that you did not vote for a grassroots Black agenda priority candidate. So you cannot say that there is nobody to vote for when you never in your life looked in a voter's information guide. You cannot say that there is nobody to vote for when you only vote for red or blue presidential nominees in November. You cannot say that there is nobody to vote for when you never look at your Secretary of State's website for candidate lists. So many grassroots candidates fall off because of this mentality. If we are not going to step up in politics ourselves, then we have a responsibility to vote for the people who are. When you step up for Black people in politics, you put yourself on the line. A good metaphor for this is when young David stepped up to fight against Goliath. King Saul chose him after he stepped up, mainly because nobody else did. King Saul conducted his evaluation of David after he stepped up. It is a prerequisite that all politicians step up. And it is also a prerequisite that the people evaluate politicians after they step up. But it is impossible for you to evaluate if you do not even know that they exist. The media is not going to always gift us with the convenience of putting these people in front of our living room sofa. They save that space for their collaborators. We must start thinking with logic. We must realize that we can win elections without mass white support. We must realize that Black people have more numbers than what is accounted for. The last time that I was here on election day in 2020, I stated how the majority of Black people do not take the census, do not take any polls, or any other statistical, metrical measuring of population forms. Many of you listening to me right now have whole families who never filled out any such forms ever in their lives, including yourself. It was the first time many of you ever heard a narrative like that. I would even say that most Blacks who descended from American slaves never took these forms. We are not the majority, but our numbers have a political power pool that we underestimate significantly. There are even people who took the census forms who did not classify as Black. And the reason why is because, well, I said all of that. We already know about that. Okay, remember, you heard this right here. Please share this video. That would be part of your contribution also. More people must hear this. We all know that Black person who may have someone in their ancestry who is of a different group. So they claim that they are either mixed or that specific group. Once Black people find an incentive to actually get out and vote, we will swing the pendulum in a paradigm shift and we will see the actual numbers. Okay, I said all of that. I said all of that. Also, white people not have as big numbers as we think. I said all of that. So why does the American government allow the under? Okay, here we go. So why does the American government allow the underrepresentation of our population size? So what we have to understand, folks, is that this whole nation, this American white people got their independence because of taxation without representation. A whole war was fought. The Revolutionary War was fought over taxation without representation. They constructed a whole constitution, bloodshed, buildings burning, cannonballs firing because of taxation without representation. So you mean to tell me that we can have an American government who understands that they can not have any power if they don't have any representation? How are we going to allow hundreds of years of no representation, no real representation except for Black political tokenized politicians in American infrastructure in politics? That right there, my folks, is a violation of the Constitution in itself. But there's no enforcement of that. If there are laws constructed without enforcement, guess what? The law don't exist. It might as well just don't exist, right?
I mean,
so
enforcement
violation.
You go to war over the shit, over
Yes.
not having representation. They was ready to go to war.
They were, yes.
We're
yes.
not.
Yes. So you mean to tell me that we have Black grassroots candidates right now, and I'm not going to mention nobody's names on this podcast, but you have prominent individuals speaking against people who are standing up and actually going against the white supremacist system in American politics, and don't even have a solution, really. Don't even have a solution. and every country in the world understands that you must have representation in your politics. And some countries, we put Obama in office both times, and he only did things for LGBT and cops. Yes. We never had representation. This is something that we should give a try. We are being taxed without representation. That is a violation of the Constitution. That is a violation of our 14th Amendment rights. Okay? That is a violation. So and another thing is that you get to stand up and show the Democratic Party that they're not going to be able to pander to you anymore. see, when you put your vote for somebody like me, what you tell the Democratic Party is you basically throw up a middle finger to the Democratic Party
And what are
say,
you,
I'm
independent party?
huh?
What are you, independent?
Yes. MPP. No party. No party something. It's MP. No.
No party present.
No parties. I don't have no parties. But I
Fact.
would say this: if you run for president, you have to be with the party, even if it's your own party, because they have laws that prevent you from running as an independent as a president. But well, as a presidential candidate. But you could be MPP, at least in the state of California. You could be independent getting into Congress, right? And there are so many people in this country, because I was on the ground. I'm not just on Twitter and stuff. I'm actually on the ground talking to people, and I come across a lot of youngsters that say, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm like none of them. So we have like the younger generation is like, nah, they don't really like Democrats or Republicans, right? The Democrat thing is more of an older type of generation, like my parents and my parents' parents. But the youngsters, I came across a lot of youngsters that say that they don't vote, but they'll vote for me. I've convinced youngsters to actually vote for me after they heard my platform. But yeah, some say they don't vote and politics is corrupt. And after I articulate why they should vote, why we never had representation, while we were being taxed without representation, they understand it and they be like, well, I don't ever vote, but I'm gonna vote for you. That's what they tell me. So that's something that we have to understand. Yes, I am independent right now. I'm not with any party, but I eventually going to run for president in 2024 at the earliest. And I probably would be forced to join a party, but this is who I am. I'm not going to be a token for any party. Yes, sir.
So what can you do as senator? Like, what are some of the things that you can immediately do that you feel like you can accomplish?
Right.
The type of individual that you are and all that, knowing that you got to work with these other individuals.
Yes, sir. Great question.
What do you think you can accomplish in the Senate?
Right. So I could write legislation, right? And in this legislation, what I can do is I can actually mobilize a movement with the people to force that legislation. So it's one thing to write legislation and you're by yourself, and you're around all these white people and you say, look, we need reparations. It's a whole different ball game if you're actually in a Senate and you have grassroots connections and the people are like, look, we're not voting for nobody except candidates like Deon D. Jenkins. Y'all better sign this. You guys better pass this bill that he just wrote, right? So, and if I make it to Congress, I would have a lot more pull to make that happen and to actually mobilize from the ground up. And that's because now people is like, we actually have a representative. Oh my God, that's going to mobilize people like never before. Like we never saw the type of mobilization probably since Adam Clayton Powell. We never saw that, and it would be historical. Yeah.
That's what's up. So when is the election for the Senate?
I'm glad you asked. June the 7th. All right. Like I said, share this video.
That's coming up.
Hey, please share this video. Do that for the movement. Now. Share this video. I'm not asking you to donate to my campaign or anything. I just need you to come out and vote. If you want to buy my album, that's separate though. Okay. The album is separate. It's not being mixed in with my campaign. That's my hip hop. But
he can really rap, y'all. Like, for real.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, Lord Jamar.
He could really rap.
I'm reminded to say this, brother. I want to thank you for co-signing that because look, this is why I got so much respect for you, bro, because we live in a clout chasing generation, right? There are people like, I mean, to have the credibility that you have and actually put your name behind a project with a guy who you respect, but I'm not really big out there. Like, I'm not really known like that, right? That takes a lot of guts, all right? That takes a lot of guts to actually put your name, all those years that you built up, to build your credibility up, and say, you know what? Just by listening to the music alone, you like, I'm gonna co-sign this. I'm gonna let my audience know this is what you listen to. Hey, we don't have nobody like that. All right, we don't have nobody like that, man. Y'all should be donating to this man's campaign. I mean, to this man's channel every single day. Make sure this go viral every single time. This shit should be big. Excuse me. This should be bigger than World Star Hip Hop. All right. And we have a responsibility to make that happen. We have a responsibility to make people like him out compete the DJ Vlads. Now, it's a shame that we haven't done that yet. All right, should support this man's platform. We need more people like this.
It's because, you know, I refuse to go down the road of like always trying to find that negative angle in order to make y'all click. Like, right. But I see that it's interesting. Like, people, you know, I feel like people that subscribe to this channel, I would think they're on a more conscious level, and then you'll put shows up with conscious titles and shit, and then the views be minuscule. Now you put some shit up about beef and, you know, all this other shit, and the views are through the roof, and it's just it's disappointing sometimes. And, you know,
that's because they don't understand.
Positive shit can't do numbers. Thank you, Icy Saracen. Hang on. He said, Dion, what will you do if you get the president candidacy and the big banks offer you massive contributions / bribes?
Great question.
That is a great question.
I wrote a song on my album, right? The song on my album is called what would you do for the American dream? Right? No. The Temptations of the American Dream. In that song, I tell you everything. I lay out my character. It's a storytelling song between me and a person who's trying to bribe me. All right. It's a storytelling song of how I build up a grassroots following. All of my dreams came true far as what I've accomplished on the ground. And somebody actually came up to me and be like, hey, Deon D Jenkins, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this, you could do that. Here's some money. You know, do you want to know what I did to that person? I threw him out a damn window. At the end of the song, I threw him out of a window. I was insulted. You know, so you know that's my take on that, man. Yes. You know, I mean, I've already been offered. People have already offered me money and stuff. People who actually this one guy actually wanted to fund everything, but we didn't have the same idealistic ideas, vision. So I declined. So you know, it's not trust me, I've been down that road before. I've had guys when I was a lot younger try to give me record deals, not on no big record label or nothing like that. You know, I was never offered Interscope or Def Jam or nothing like that. But I had like real credible independent dudes who were like, hey man, we like what you're doing. What you think about this? I turned it down. So that's part of my character anyway. All right. So, you know, you looking at a God anointed individual who actually stepped up and said, you know, when God called David after his own heart, man, you looking at a lion heart individual right here. You know, coming up, man, I had to, you know, all my life I had to stand on principle. You know, all my life I had to stand on principle. So it's a reason why I'm doing this. And you looking at a guy who never, ever since I was a little kid, I knew my calling. I knew that God put me here to make a difference, you know, and change things for blacks who descended from American slaves and black people around the world as well. All right. So we could make this thing happen, but I'm gonna need your support. June the 7th.
June 7th, y'all.
The state of California, come out and vote for your boy. Well, for your man, I should say. I'm not a boy. I'm a man. Come out and vote for your man. Yes, sir.
Wait, so that's 7-7. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, buy the album too. I didn't know. Regardless of now, this is different. All right. I'm not mixing.
Link is in the description right now.
Link is in the description box. This is a classic album. Buy that, man. Buy that.
It's called The Black Vote, y'all.
It's called The Black Vote. The Black Vote. You know, just for your entertainment, I put that for you. That's not for there's no mixture with the candidacy. I don't want your contributions. I'm not even accepting contributions from the people. Have you ever heard of that? I want to prove to you I'm not in this for money. I'm not taking none of your contributions. Everything I fund myself. And God has blessed me to be able to fund it myself. All I'm asking for you to do is vote. Okay. This is the realest candidate you won't ever meet.
I like how with your album you was like fuck iTunes and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
Like you just get that shit from me, straight from me. I'm not letting y'all extort me for any, percentage and all of this just so I could be on your fucking place. I'm in direct contact with the people, and if they want my shit, they gonna come get it from me. Facts.
Hey, I want to highlight that a little bit.
Let me applaud you for that. Hold on.
Yes, sir. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of my agendas as well. If God do bless me to get in Congress this year, I plan to actually write legislation against the Spotify's and the iTunes, because how are they going to give you pennies, fractions of a penny, and then they charge every subscriber $20 a month? So you got to pay for an album every month. And most, they give the mainstream guys millions of dollars to put their songs on there. They pay them. Trust me. The Drakes and all those guys, they're making their money. They're not making fractions of a penny.
Right.
And it's look, I'm gonna create a minimum wage for the music industry. That's right. A minimum wage for the music industry per stream.
It's funny because Digga was just talking about this yesterday. She said she's still confused about how many streams make one sale, and you know what I mean? That shit is confusing and like a motherfucker. And like, from what I understand, it was like 1,500 streams or something. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, motherfucker gotta play my shit 1,500 times before you count it as one. That shit sounds like game like a motherfucker, man. Come on, man.
That's
if
exploitation.
You played it 1,500 times, and I should get 1,500 fucking plays.
Right.
But see, you don't like that because then you'd have to pay more, you bitch ass.
That's called exploitation. That's what that's called. And white supremacy, they figure out every type of way. Man, look, I got conspiracy theories for days on the music industry. I think the reason why they got rid of CDs and tapes and all that type of stuff, because they understood that Negroes were making money off that. And even the way they could, if you notice, you can't do the same thing with the movie industry. Like, they make sure they get their money. They make sure anything that white people control, trust me, there's an element of gatekeeping that allows them to keep all their bread.
Well, we was bootlegging the fuck out of those movies back in the 90s.
Huh?
Them movies was getting bootleg like a motherfucker back in the 90s.
Yeah, they were getting bootleg. But actually, what I'm saying is that like if you go to the movie theater, you buy a movie, one movie is like $15 now.
Right.
$15. Like bootlegging, that's what we do underground, but I'm talking about in the music industry, they actually have a mainstream system that keeps you from making your bread.
Right.
That's not
right.
the movie industry don't do that. You know, they make sure that you could get your bread in the movie industry. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's real talk. That's real talk. So you keep saying Senate, and then I hear you talking about Congress too. Like,
yes, let me break that down.
Yes,
so Congress
please.
represents. So you have federal Congress and state Congress, right? You've got state senators on a local level, right? They represent state these are the legislators of the states. Then you have the federal Congress, which is represented by the House of Representatives and
the House of Representatives.
House of Representatives and the Senate. Yes, sir. So
aren't some of these things antiquated?
Huh?
Aren't some of these things antiquated? Like, don't we have like the House of Representatives and like a lot of these politicians? Because at one time people lived in like rural areas, and they had no way of speaking for themselves. So they had this, everybody voted, and then they sent this guy, and he went out to fucking like to Washington to speak for them. But like, technically they don't need to do that anymore, if you think about it, with some of these positions.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Even if I live in a rural area, I can get on the fucking internet and speak my piece if I wanted to. Like, you see what I'm saying? I don't necessarily need to send this guy, on a pony.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Washington.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's why a lot of these things came into existence in the first place, because they needed someone, because these people were so far away that you couldn't hear from them.
Well, with the representation aspect of it, though, comes in the form of actual legislation passed. So, so the House of Representatives, they get together. That's where it starts off at.
They make the lowest legislation.
They pass legislation, and if it get passed amongst them, it moves up to the Senate. And if it gets passed, then if we vote to get that passed, then it gets in front of the president, who either sign it or veto it. And that's really much.
And if he sign it, then it be a law. I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
Right.
Are you old enough to remember that? Do you know where that's from?
Yes. It sounds familiar.
Nah,
I don't know.
You're not old enough. Get the fuck out of here. Schoolhouse Rock, my man.
Schoolhouse Rock. I know about them.
Schoolhouse Rock, my man. I'm just a bill. They broke down the science of how a bill is written, and then it goes off to the White House, where I'm waiting online with a lot of other bills for the president to sign, and he's singing it like that. It's a black dude. I think it's like Scatman Crothers maybe singing it. And it resigns me on, I'll be a law. Okay. Yeah, that's that shit. Okay. My generation know that shit.
Now I know about Schoolhouse
Rock. Shit. Huh?
Right.
Sing that shit, my generation. God damn it. You know all the fucking words. All right. Yeah, well, that's what's up, because so it's sometimes it's a little confusing, because you say you're running for the Senate, but then you speak of doing things in Congress. So the Senate,
Congress represents all of it.
Yes. Okay, they represent all of it.
Right.
And the senator does shit, because you hear of congressmen and then you hear of senators.
Well, when they say Congress, it's pretty much interchangeable. Yeah, but it gets more specific when you break down the House of Representatives and the Senate. Though that's when you get specific, right? Even specific types of senators, like me, I'm going out for the a class 3 Senate seat. So
what does that
it gets
mean?
even more specific.
What's a class 3 as opposed to a class 1?
Right. So every term have a specific class. In this term that we're in right now with my seat, they base it based on what year the candidates are running. for that seat. So in 2020, I believe in my state, Dianne Feinstein was up, and either 2020 or 2018, and that was a different class. I forgot which class that one is, but in my state there are two senators. There are Dianne Feinstein and Alex Padilla, and Alex Padilla is actually the guy who I'm running against. He's the incumbent, right? And he was placed.
Is he a Democrat or Republican?
He's a Democrat.
Okay.
He was placed in there by Governor Newsom, who filled in. When Kamala Harris became the VP, he actually filled in that spot because of Kamala Harris, and so he became the senator interim. And so we have two elections this year for the U.S. for his seat. The
Just
first
like we
election,
got this Holcomb, who's the interim. Fucking, we got this Kathy Holcomb here in New York. She's the interim fucking governor because my man Cuomo stepped down.
Yes, sir. So it's the same thing right now. So you have an election that's taking place that's actually to put a person in that seat until next January, right? When the new senator steps in, and that term goes until 2027. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. No. I take that back. It's a 6-year term. That term goes until 2029, actually. Unless you step down.
Some of these joints be real fucking long. These niggas be
yeah.
President be in and out. These motherfuckers be there through a few presidents. Like,
right.
What the fuck?
Yep. So yeah, man, it's very important that we select our own representation in Congress. Like I said, I'm not asking for any donations. I'm funding everything out of my own pocket because I need to show the people that I'm real. Like, this is not a gimmick. This is not me trying to get a career. I have a passion to get reparations and end the system of white supremacy. That's my ultimate goal, right? Guys like Dr. Neely Fuller, Francis Cress Wilson. Oh yeah, shout out to the new black media, man. Guys like yourself, guys like B1 all day.
Yes, sir.
Jason Black out there,
Black
Tariq Nasheed, the Black Authority, man. Professor Black Truth, Bishop Tabert Swan,
Sonetta,
man, Sonetta, yes. I mean, the list goes on, but you guys are changing the paradigm shift for media. Like me being on here, like
UB News,
yeah, exactly. TD Hip Hop Media. Like you got guys, Phil from the Advice Show. You guys have people set in place that's actually changing the narrative on the media level, because we need media. Just like Joe Biden, he could go to CNN and get media exposure. He could go to all type MSNBC.
Right.
They make sure that you know about their candidates, and they use that through the media. So like I said, that's another salute, my brother, to allow me on here. RIP DJ K Slay. He brought me out there up in 2020, man. He actually brought me up to his radio station, and I did do a freestyle at his radio show, and that shit went viral on Facebook. But yeah, man, he brought me out there, man. And at first, what he did, he said when I first heard the idea, he was like, I thought that shit was corny, but then when I heard you rap, I was like, oh, bring that dude up here. He's like, man, bring that dude up here, man. Because he told me that when he heard me rap, he knew that I was serious about this. I'm not just some guy. I'm just not just some politician using this as a gimmick to try to get votes, or look at me, I'm cool, I'm hip. Nah, he said, nah, you've been practicing it, you've been taking this serious. So yeah, RIP K Slay. Yeah.
And trust me, I'm not the type, niggas know I have a hard ear. Like, I'm not just gonna be like,
Right.
yeah, like I fuck
Right.
with your shit. Like I really, you know what I mean? Like you really could rap. Your fucking production is high quality, all of that. Like,
Yes, sir.
I fucks with your music. Like, you know what I mean?
Sir. Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, I don't know. I think now people might feel like, well, damn, if he could rap good, would he be a good politician? Or if he's a good politician, then maybe he can't rap good. You see what I'm saying? Like they don't feel like sometimes you would be able to do both things.
Yes.
But you're here to tell us that's not the case, that you actually can rap and you can fucking.
That's like, okay,
I mean,
okay.
You sat here this whole time for, more than an hour now and held political discourse with us.
Man, look, man, that's like if Tupac Shakur or if Lord Jamar or if Nas or somebody or Rakim or Dead Prez or one of them guys decided to become president, right? So or got into office, right? Like guys who actually have a conscious mind, and I even take it even like me and you are probably on their way more, I wouldn't say extreme part, but probably Pac. It's only a few guys who you could really think about who are really like, Pac having his revolutionary background and stuff like that, who are actually in the real movement to try to make a change for our people. Imagine if he ran for president, imagine if he tried to get into Congress. Okay, a guy who actually understands the art form of hip hop, takes it serious, takes the passion and live the lifestyle, right? My grassroots hip hop credentials runs deep. I was out there in the street. I used to sell CDs in front of liquor stores, like just out the trunk of my car. Like, here's my CD, living off of that. Like, it's like living off of that, liquor store owners telling me, oh man, you can't be here. And I'm like, man, F you. I wouldn't do that today. But, when I was younger, going to jail because I got into fights with liquor store owners because they told me to get off their property because I was selling my CD. Like, you looking at a real, I'm not a gangster or nothing like that, but you looking at a real Lionheart, like no punk in me at all. Like, just straight. I'm for the people. I'm passionate about what I did, what I'm doing. And if I could take that much passion off of a CD, off of my art, off of my music, imagine what I could do for my people in American politics. And that's something to think about. And it's worth supporting. And I want to drive this home. I'm not asking you for your money. I don't want no contributions. All I ask is that you just get out and vote. Let's paradigm shift this. Let's get me in Congress. And not just me, because it's not about Deon D. Jenkins. This should be a movement. We need more brothers and sisters like you listening right now. If you want to get in politics, you should be able to do it. And the people support you. And don't let nobody tell you that what you're doing is a joke or it can't work. You got to have white people to support you. Man, look, black people have revolutionized, have influenced white people even. If I have a chance, there's going to be white people that vote for me. Trust me, because they're going to want to be part of my movement as well, because they're going to understand that this is a part of history, and they're going to want to be part of that history. They don't want to say, yeah, I voted for Deon D. Jenkins. I'm not racist. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're going to want to say. However, it's not going to be the majority. Most white people, are going to be like, hell nah, we can't have that. But even those white people who voted for me, I don't think I get a second term. So it's going to be way more important that I get in there. But black people have always influenced culture. We've always influenced other groups to be a part of what we do. And I don't have to sell out who I am to get white people to support me. I never have, never will. Okay. I've never went to white people and I don't even campaign to white people. I don't even campaign to white people. But I tell you this, there were some white people who signed their name on my form to get me on the ballot. Talking about reparations the way I'm talking right now. Right. There were white people who actually signed their name to get me on the ballot. So don't let nobody tell you, the grass movement is going to be black people who get me in there. And if we could get a trickle of everybody else without selling out, which is going to happen because we influence the world. Hip hop is a prime example of how we influence the world. There's not a country in the world that don't have hip hop playing somewhere. Yeah, so we have the power to change this situation and paradigm shift this momentum in politics. And trust me, once the people believe that it could be done, we are going to influence a whole lot more people, and it's going to spread. Yes, sir.
If a young brother or sister wanted to get into politics, how would you recommend they go about it?
Well, I don't have any recommendation for how a person, because everybody's different. Like some people think that you should start off on a local level first. Some people think that you should network with other people, and you should. Everybody have their own, way of getting in there. I just stepped out because there was nobody out there. So I don't think. But if you do decide, it depends on what office you want, and what are your aspirations. So my aspirations was to become president, right? So I understood that was going to be a uphill battle at first, and I understood that I'm going to have to get my name out there. My name out there got to be ringing. I need media, right? I need people writing articles. I need people like yourself allowing me to articulate my message. I need a lot before I need to hit the streets, grassroots, and also basically I needed to put my name out there. But you have to register with the Federal Elections Commission. All right, you got to register with the FEC, right? Once you register with the FEC, if you're taking contributions, you have to report every period. All right. And if you want to get on the ballot to become president, every state have their own rules and guidelines of how to do that. But what every state have in common is you're going to need a whole lot of signatures from every state. You need, if you're not just placed on the ballot because of an endorsement or whatever else, So yeah. On the local level is different. I never ran locally, so I can't really. I'm not the guy. Oh wait, hold up. To run for U.S. Senate though, it's kind of local. It's not local far as like local, but it's a federal position, right?
Right.
You got to have a petition of lieu in the state of California, and you got to get a certain amount of signatures. And
can you say it's about 3% of the population, something
like that? I'm paraphrasing. It's been a while since I looked at it. Yeah, and you gotta. So once you get on the ballot, the same thing. You got to register with the FEC. You also have to, if you're taking donations, you have to report that every quarter. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you before we get out of here. What about I'm hearing about this critical race theory.
Yeah.
What is that? Some California type of shit, right?
Critical race theory is a phrase that white people made up. That
where they don't want to get called out about their bullshit. Is that it?
Yeah, that's what I call a stigmatized terminology. So kind of like, people, they're going to make that a buzzword. So if you're talking against white supremacy, it's going to be critical race theory. And once they make it a buzzword,
and we're not going to teach critical race theory
right,
in schools.
and once
kids in here, the white
and once they make it a buzzword, they are going to legislate it to make it illegal. And they're already doing that in certain states, like I think Florida and Georgia, I believe. They're already trying to do that in certain states. They're trying to make it illegal to actually teach you history in school, Black history. I mean, any type of Black history. To take out the slavery part of U.S. history, how are you going to leave out the institution of slavery? That's how the country was built, off of that. But once they make critical race theory a buzzword of stigmatization, of being a stigma, then that's when the legislation comes across. Just like Black militia or something like that, right? Black terrorist or something like that. No. The FBI actually put out a statement a few years ago. It was Black extremist, Black extremist. And they actually put out a memo against Black extremists. So if you were a type of person who were willing to bear arms against the government or something like that, or anything, just any type of military presence against white supremacy, you were a Black extremist. So yeah, they put out these buzzwords and they just put it out there for the whole world. I mean, for the whole nation. And then once everybody catch on, legislation to put you in prison. And actually, it's crazy because George W. Bush signed the Patriots Act in 2004, where you could actually they could take you off of the street without even trial. You could be at Pelican Bay somewhere getting waterboarded and nobody even know where you're at, just on an allegation that you may be a Black extremist. So yeah, the Patriots Act. But guess what? As president, I'm gonna use those same laws. If I become president for white terrorists, I'm gonna give them the same medicine they dealt us with. But that's a whole nother story.
Earlier when you got on, you spoke on making legislation against the LGB ABCDFG fucking agenda. What do you see their agenda as being, and what kind of legislation would you propose to fight against it?
Well, in the state of California, for instance, they made a law that a certain age could actually sleep with a 16-year-old, and it's not considered pedophilia. Yeah, stuff like that. Allowing men who call themselves a different gender to go inside other bathrooms. That's law now, and you cannot discriminate against them. Sex education, they're trying to pass this. Sex education being taught to like elementary school kids and junior high school kids, to where they actually teach kids about homosexual lifestyles, which is very inappropriate. It's not even, I don't even really agree with teaching kids heterosexual lifestyle. I think that's inappropriate, and it's a form of pedophilia. And of course, we understand the overrepresentation of homosexuality in media. Transgenders are trying to pass. They're actually trying to pass a piece of legislation right now that allow a transgender man who turned himself who cuts off his genitals and stuff like that, allegedly a female. Well, they're trying to make it to where your birth certificate get changed. So if you are a male if you were a grown man who was born a male and your birth certificate says you are a male, they could legally change that And then they're trying to change that right now. So you could say that you're a female. You can say that you are a female and actually get your birth certificate changed so that the illusion can be legitimized and legalized.
But guess what you can't do when you fucking die and I fucking dig your body up and I fucking analyze your fucking DNA. You know what it's gonna say?
Male.
That you was a fucking man. God damn it.
Grown
and
man.
Your birth certificate or what you thought you was and all this bullshit ain't gonna fucking matter, because I'm gonna look at your fucking, I don't even gotta look at your DNA. I can look at your fucking hips.
Right.
I can look at your fucking bone structure and tell if you was a man or a woman, motherfucker. You know, like if you really know about bones and shit, if you're a boneologist, I don't know what they call them motherfuckers, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So the fuck out of here.
And they're trying to, they're already allowing transgender women to compete with women in sports.
I don't even like you calling them transgender women.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
They're allowing transformers to fucking do
men transforming themselves into something else, allegedly claiming that they're women. Right. They're trying to legitimize them playing in sports with real women, and it's crazy, man. So yeah. As a senator, man, you know, I have some, you know, and if others join me, you know, because they're really targeting me. Oh yeah. If you talk about target, you know, two things they do not want you to mess with. They're white supremacy and the LGBT community, and they both fall line in line.
Yeah, they're white
racist
thing.
White racist LGBT. Dion terms of foreign policy. Why is the U.S. hypocritical, calling out the war crimes of other countries like Russia, but ignore their own? Exactly. And guess what? If I ever become commander in chief, guess what I'm gonna use my military for? Going against white supremacy. Guess what I'm gonna use my FBI for? Going after white supremacy. Yeah. Guess what I'm gonna use?
And you know how many people in the military is gonna fucking quit because they're whites. A lot of them are white supremacists. That's where a lot of them.
No. I already got that back. See, they were mutiny. They were mutiny me. So I already understand that I'm gonna have to use my commander-in-chief authorities to actually construct a different branch of U.S. military. John F. Kennedy, he did it. He did it for the Navy SEALs. Also, law enforcement, I'm gonna have to construct a different branch of law enforcement agency. Theodore Roosevelt did it. He did it for the FBI, right? So as commander-in-chief, I would actually have that authority, right? And Congress could do it too, actually. Congress can do it. But I mean, I don't want to pull nobody chain. I'm gonna need more people for that, and that's why I want to help with the mass movement of people running for office, not just myself. Like, this is not just a Deon D. Jenkins attempt to get in Congress for my personal career. We need to inspire other people to run for political office. You know, that's what we need to do. And we need to do that ASAP. Like, it ain't just about me. It should never be about me. Just like I said before, we don't need any gatekeepers. Don't let nobody gatekeep politics. The gatekeeping should be the black agenda. Black agenda priority first. Like with the black authority, just like with the black authority community states, B1 all day. And we need that in American politics. That's what we need. That's what we need, and that's what we're going to have. And I don't want anything else. If I can't have that, I don't want to be senator. If I can't have that, I don't want to be president. This is what I got in this for, you know? Yes, sir.
That's what's up. Well, shit, man. Any last words before we get out of here?
Yes, sir. Follow me on YouTube. Press that subscriber button.
What's your
Also press
YouTube page?
the notification bell. Deon D Jenkins. If you type that in YouTube, I'll pop right up. I should.
Okay, that's what's up.
Follow me on Twitter at Deon D Jenkins. What else? YouTube, Twitter. I don't really do the Instagram thing. I've been hearing too many things about Instagram. They're cutting people off, but I do have an Instagram, Hip Hop President. And I haven't been on Facebook that much either. Same thing, Hip Hop for President. But I really haven't been on those. I just got on Twitter, really, just recently. Just recently, like yesterday.
Well, your boy Elon Musk supposedly is gonna save it, you know. And
he's about to, I think he bought
and make free speech and all of this type of shit, supposedly, but
right.
I don't trust that motherfucker.
Right. The guy who calls himself an African American, right?
Right. Yeah, we talked about that. Hey, but technically,
right.
I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, man.
That's an interesting.
That's very interesting. Right, you know, so
yeah.
So and he's one of them, right? So he's getting, trust me, he's getting a lot of benefits for claiming as African American. He's taking a lot of things that we can get, things that they're not giving to us, you know, a lot of set asides and a lot of benefits that a lot of Black people probably don't even know about, you know, things that I probably don't even know about, but he's getting it, you know. So we got to change that terminology. Blacks who descended from American slaves, I use that, but shout out to FBA, Tariq Nasheed's you know, terminology and all that. FBA, Foundational Black American, you know, B1, you know, blacks who descended from American slaves is what I go by, though, is because to me, in my opinion, that's the most specific terminology that you can have. But now we're foundational Black Americans as well, and you know, we need to create our own terminologies. Can you undo all this jab mandate BS? The vaccination, man. Oh yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, we didn't, you know.
The jab, exactly. The mark of the beast. That's what I call it. The mark of the beast.
Thank you.
Of course, they're trying to force you to take vaccinations and stuff like that, which they are kind of easing off of right now because it's an election year. But trust me, it's going to come back. Once this election year is over, they're going to go right back to normal. They're going to think of something else. They're going to be like, oh, there's a COVID-19 variant Z.
2021.
Yeah.
22.
And they're going to be, you know, they're going to go really even harder. Right now it's an election year, so they're kind of easing off a little bit, at least in the state of California. They're you know, they're kind of easing off. They're not really enforcing anything. And they're taking away a lot of restrictions that was once there. But yeah, trust me, once this election season is over, they're gonna go right back to normal. That's, you know, yeah. So yeah, if I get in there, of course, I'm not gonna force anybody to take the jab.
To take an experimental gene therapy fucking shot.
Right. And you don't know what they're putting in you, you know. And it's not enough research to really make a decision yet of taking it or not.
Experimental gene therapy.
Facts. Right.
And you're the experiment, people.
And also, don't forget, share this video. Share
this video.
Also, click on that link that's in the description box. This is a historical album. It's a classic.
The Black Vote.
Classic, G. and it's the best album I ever created. I ain't gonna lie. I put a lot of mixtapes out there, CDs. I've been rapping almost my entire life, and this is, I mean, I came from, just straight from the soul with this one. It's like the spirit of Yahweh just got in me with this one. So yeah. And I'm coming with a Black Vote Part 2. Black Vote Part 2 is coming. Share this video though. Share this video.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this
Make
video
sure we go
up.
viral.
I'm gonna keep this up, y'all, so y'all can share it. And yeah, that's what's up.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, June 7th is the date.
June the 7th. In California, all my California people, go out and vote. Remember, I told you the primaries, that's where it's at. It's not the general election. If you wait until the general election, it's over already. You got two mainstream candidates that the Democrats then pushed, they put money behind and just kind of put them out there. Yeah.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Senatorial candidate Deon D. Jenkins. Thank you for coming through, bro.
Anytime, man. Hope I could come back.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Peace, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Once again, make sure to click that like button if you haven't already. Again, you can get the Black Vote. The link is in the description right now. My link tree is in the description as well. Godcast gear and all of that type stuff, and various links. We got my man 1159 singles out. 94 Crime Bill. Go check that out. And once again, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Another great one. I may just be back tomorrow afternoon with Godfrey. Yeah, we might get some quick work in tomorrow afternoon. So check us out. Until then, 59 Mean Godcast, Lord Jamar Live. I am Lord Jamar. And to my family, peace.